Hey, what's up, guys? This is a little surprising video for you, almost midweek. Today is Thursday, but we are going to be doing an early edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. Now, there's only really one reason why that you're getting an early, video of this type. Usually they're dropped on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons, whatever, to kind of get your either your weekend going for your hunting and your cherry picking. Or just get your week ready. For those of you out there that routinely go through coin rolls from the bank, or you guys do the whole coin shop scene or the local shows, and you're looking for good stuff that you could flip or pick up and then flip, this is the report for you. However, I will be unavailable this whole weekend. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting a little early advanced look at some pretty good stuff here from the last 24 to 48 hours. If you're new to the Pocket Change Market Report, it is exactly like it says. We take a look at all of the relevant pocket change finds. Now, we like to focus on errors and varieties for this report from the last 24 to 48 hours on eBay. And these are all what we call raw sales. Raw in the sense that they're not graded. And these again are coins that if you find them and they just don't have a place in your collection, you could always turn around and sell these for a pretty good amount of money. Now, there are people I know personally that do this on the regular, and that's what they do for a living, is that they go through coin rolls, they look for the silver, they go and look for some of these errors and varieties, they turn around and sell them, and oftentimes, about 9 times out of 10, a lot of these finds are worth a lot more than the silver that's being found in these rolls. And again, like I've mentioned, you don't need to grade any of these. All right, sometimes the value can be as little as $5-10, or they can be as high as a few $100s. The idea is recognizing the coins that will sell just perfectly fine as a raw example, because if you go ahead and send it off to the graders and you spend the $30 to $40 to get it slabbed in these holders and authenticated and all that great stuff, the coins will still be worth however much it's worth as a raw coin, unless it's like an extremely high grade example. That's like a top end, top pop grade. So, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and jump right into the list. We got 30 coins in this video, and we're going to start it off with one of my personal favorites. And these coins are very liquid in any condition. I've even sold lowball examples with environmental damage for like $10-20 of this variety. But this is a 1936 Lincoln wheat cent. As you can see, the condition of the coin is probably like a net VF25. It's nothing like super crazy as far as grade. Seen lots of love, obviously, in the world of commerce, through about the last 80 years. And this is a coin that has a number of different really cool varieties to look for. This one just so happens to be a doubled die obverse. Now, there is some doubling to be found on Liberty, and I don't have any photos of that, just based off of what's provided by the seller. Liberty and in the motto, "In God We Trust," on the obverse of the coin. But the strongest area of doubling is going to be the date. Now, there's a few, like I said, there's a few different double dies to look for 1936p, the Philadelphia minted coin. There's the DDO number 1, there's number 2, and number 3. And there's a few other, more minor, coins that don't command nearly as much money in the marketplace. This one right here is number 2. In the Cherry Picker's Guide, it's also referred to as the FS102. You can just see the doubling, especially in the 9, is very strong. You can see it in the 3, the 6. The 9, you can see the double tail, so that's really cool. And then the 1 is just crazy looking. On much higher grade examples, you do have a notch right here on the top and bottom to show that displacement of the 1 on that doubling. But this is one that definitely, if you're a hunter of wheat cents, and 36 is one of the most common dates to find, out there. Even though it's the 30s, it is one of the most common dates. You definitely need to make sure that you've looked at it once, maybe twice, so that way you don't overlook things like this. This coin right here sold for $42.95, which is a pretty good amount of money given its condition state. The next one that we have here is a Lincoln Memorial cent that is off-center by a good deal. Now, we've highlighted a few of these coins from this specific seller, and he sells a lot. I mean, quite a bit. But this one right here is, again, another example in a long line of off-center struck error coins that he has sold. This particular one right here, you have barely just a smidgen of the date. We know it's a 19-something, right? And seeing as how we have a lot of exposed zinc on this coin, this is obviously a post-1982 copper-coated zinc composition struck coin. This one right here, again, people do collect these, and they are very, very popular. However, as far as desirability, collectors of this type of error want coins with a full date. All right, and they'll pay a lot more money for those type of coins. This one right here sold for $18.34. All the exposed zinc can be problematic in the long run, only because when you live in an environment where there's a lot of moisture and humidity, that will begin to erode at the zinc core of these coins. So being able to store them in just the right temperature and environment is going to be important to ensure the long-term, appearance of these coins and the durability and everything like that. But yeah, $18.34 for this one. But we also have another one from the same seller, a full date 1988 Philadelphia struck Lincoln Memorial cent. This one's off center by about the same percentage as the previous coin, and that's about 55%. But there you go. The date means the world, and it does reflect the price equally. This one right here sold for more money than the previous coin, even though the condition, I would say, it's probably on par with the other one. The other one had lots of exposed zinc along with some carbon spotting. This one has a lot of staining or spotting or whatever that is on the coin, along with some exposed zinc areas. However, this one sold for $25.50. So with a full date, you do get a coin that's worth more money. Alright, so if you got some junk silver, I just want to let you know that there are a ton of varieties to be found in the Morgan Dollar series. These are some of the most widely collected and hoarded silver, mostly because of their age and size. Okay, these coins are big. For those of you that have Ike dollars, they are the same size as an Ike dollar, only they're all silver. This particular coin right here is the 1900 O. It's a New Orleans minted example, and there are a number of what we call VAMs. They are varieties specific to the Morgan and Peace Dollar series. This is a very well-known one right here. It is actually the O over CC. Now, when coins become kind of like this condition, where at first glance it just looks like silver melt fodder, and nothing more than that, varieties like this can be hard to find. But if you could look here next to the O, you can see just a partial C right there. And it's strong enough that even on lower grade examples like this, you can see it. And there's about a good 10 or 12 various O over CC over mint mark coins that can be found for this date specifically. And let's say in the perfect world, you went to your local coin shop, you saw this in a melt bin, not thinking that it was an O over CC till you got home. But let's say you originally paid, for example, $28 for it. Okay, just shooting out an example. You could turn around and sell this for about 3 times what you had paid for it, believe it or not, in this condition. As a matter of fact, this particular seller sold this coin for $79, which is a really good rate of return on what is otherwise scrap silver. All right, so this is a very common occurrence on the Lincoln Steel cents. This is a 1943S. I know you can't really tell because there is a digit missing, and the mint mark's all weak as well. 1943, this San Francisco minted coin specifically always had a lot of clogged die issues. Okay, clogged dies meant that there was grease and debris trapped in the devices of the die. So when these coins are struck, a lot of things will be missing on there. Whether it's this 4 in the date, whether it's some of the letters in Liberty or in the motto, or even on the reverse as well. This one right here, it's completely obliterated the 4. The mint mark's looking pretty bad on here. But this is a normal occurrence on this particular date. This one right here, because of its oddity status, sold for $37.50, which is a pretty good amount of money considering that you could buy a mint state off-the-shelf example of this coin in a 2x2 for around $5. So if you're able to, say, cherry pick a few of these at your local coin shop in this condition, I mean, congratulations. You're going to make a pretty good amount of money if you elected you want to go ahead and just flip it. Now, this is a coin right here that I am more than surprised at the amount of money it's sold for. I've talked about the 2019 Philadelphia Lincoln Shield cent before, this specific type. Now, you probably already see it, but there is a tremendous amount of cracks and die chips that goes from the rim right to his vest, but it had to pass through all the numbers of the date. This is a very neat looking error. The first time that I saw this, and it sold for like $90 to $100, I believe. It was not a cheap error. And this one I feel like sold for very, very little money. And I'm going to tell you what the big reason why that this one didn't sell for anything. By the way, it sold for $4.65. This seller ended up imaging this coin using a flatbed scanner. I could kind of tell. All right. The coin was extremely small on screen. I actually had to blow it up in order to crop it and made them both together. This is about as good as it gets right here. But the bad imaging of this particular coin was its own undoing as far as being able to make more money than $4.65. I would feel like that in today's market, this is a coin that still would sell between $30 and $40 with the right type of photos and marketing. You're in like Flynn. However, this is just a cautionary tale to really hone in on your photography skills, because they will, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, they will make all the difference in the world between making a sale that's only a few dollars to one that's 10 times that. So just a little food for thought. Your personal smartphone device can take great pictures today. Utilize the focusing on there, and also there are apps where you could actually take close-ups of these coins. Our first piece of currency on the list is going to be this 1995 $10 Federal Reserve note. So as you can see, something's going on here on the front of this note. And it turns out that the first print is tremendously under-inked. All right, you can see that right here, and it's apparent in this black print right here. So a lot of under-inking going on. The third print with the serial numbers and district seals all look strong and very good and bright and vibrant. The back of the note is perfect. All right, looks like nothing's going on here, but in these particular under-inked error notes, they are very desirable. This example sold for $118.50. Now, this is one of my favorite varieties to look for, and one that is just about naked eye visible. Very close. I would say, if you can, make sure you get a magnifier and take a close look at this one just to make sure it is what it is. But this is the 1953 D over D repunched mint mark. And this is, by the way, I believe RPM number 1. This is the big one. I believe it's in the Cherry Picker's Guide as well. But the biggest telltale sign that you may have this RPM without grabbing a magnifier is that the D is directly underneath the 5 in the date, where normally the placement is between the 9 and 5 right here. This one is directly underneath the 5. Now, they're not all the RPMs, but it's going to be a really, really significant diagnostic to get you started. Like, you don't want to throw this back if you see that the Denver min mark is directly underneath the 5 in the date. It sticks out like a sore thumb, even with the naked eye. Even in this condition, which isn't fantastic, it's just a nice circulated worn example. This one sold for $12. Not too bad. I've seen a lot worse, let's put it that way. Alright, so we got a dollar bill and it appears like there are things missing. Alright, and no, your eyes are not deceiving you. You're exactly correct. But we have a 1977A $1 Federal Reserve note. It looks like it's missing all of the third print, which includes the serial numbers and district seals and the quad numerals there on the front of the note. But on the back, guess what? Yeah, the third print has been inadvertently been printed on the back of the note. So the sheets were just fed backwards, or yeah, backwards. There's no other word to use to describe this. But this is an error that comes up on occasion. It is legitimate, in case you're wondering. There's really no easy way to counterfeit this. I'll tell you that. So yeah, the third print is printed on the back, and wow. This one sold for $260.50. Seems like a lot of money, only because it is. It's a very, very sought-after note error in the community. All right, so we're down to about 3-4 weeks in a row where we've witnessed a few statehood quarter errors, and they come up so infrequently, that seeing one per month is kind of nice. All right, so we've had 3-4 consecutive weeks where someone has sold some sort of statehood quarter error. Here's another one right here. This is a 1999D. This is a Denver minted Georgia statehood quarter. That is slightly off-center by a little bit. We're talking 5% offset or less on this one. Believe it or not, this one sold for $14.14. And any statehood quarter error, as minor as something like this, or as major as something that's like double struck or whatever, they are actually sought after. More of them are being desired. Especially the more radical, more scarcer type of errors. And the prices just continue to climb. So just keep that in mind as you're searching through your statehoods. I know they're kind of like a beast of burden when we're going through coin rolls, but believe it or not, there is a growing market for these. Alright, so this one is not pretty, but we have a lamination error on this 1947 Lincoln wheat cent. You can see it on the reverse, but it's dirty. Man, this thing is dirty. But in any event, this is again a coin that some would say, oh yeah, that thing's damaged. On the contrary, ladies and gentlemen, this one is a legitimate error brought upon by just the bad planchet quality prior to the strike. And yeah, even a coin in this condition with a lamination is desired on the secondary market. People do pay up for things like this. To give you an idea, this common dated 1947 sold for $12.46. Don't be afraid to pull it out, even though it looks like scuzzy, because there is a buyer for stuff like this. All right, 1996P Washington Quarter. This one I would imagine has been overlooked by many, many hundreds, if not tens of thousands of people through its 25-year-old quest to end up on eBay and eventually sell for a few bucks. But what we have here is a coin that looks slightly off-center, but that's a given. But what we have here is a partial tilted collar strike. So the edge of the coin has kind of like that rail rim feature on there. The coin is not great. condition-wise. It's been around the block, like Jenny on the block, I guess. Jenny from the block. But yeah, this one is pretty well circulated, but still had a little bit of a market. It did sell for $5.50. Another quarter error, this time on some 90% silver. And we have a relatively tough 1955 Washington quarter with a curved clip right there between 8 and 9 o'clock position-wise. Coin's in decent shape. Looks like a low-grade mint state, maybe an AU58 on its worst of days. But this one right here did sell for $15. So again, double check your scrap silver. Something like this could be there. You can make a few times what the normal silver melt rate is for a coin like that. All right, don't adjust your screens. The picture quality of this particular listing is inexplicably bad, but I can tell you this. It's a 1939 J-Lo nickel, Jefferson nickel, J-Jeff. And this particular coin, yeah, we could certainly take a few lessons. We need more lighting and, again, utilize the good focus quality of these newer cameras these days. There's just no excuse to throw this on eBay and expect to sell for anything. The one redeeming quality about this listing was the close-up. This is the only close-up that showed up on the same listing. I mean, you failed on the full coin images, but yet, you know, you do okay on the close-up. I just don't see the rhyme or reason here. But this is indeed the doubled Monty. All right, this is the doubled Monticello. You can see the doubling there. You can see it real well in cents, in 5 cents. And even in this condition, the best offer was accepted. The original asking price was $48. So I'll call it probably sold between $30 and $40, which is a nice, good sale for a coin in this condition. All right, so what have I said about bicentennial coinage errors? All right, they are few and far between, and they are desirable because of their one-shot type of status in the community. But we have a 76 Denver Eisenhower bicentennial dollar. And what's cool is it features the Type 1 reverse with the blocky letters, so that's like an extra added bonus. But really, it does have a little bit of a clip right here above the T in Liberty. Nothing dramatic, but this did sell for $35. Otherwise, it would just be an Ike dollar that you would have. You know, it's from your perspective, it's only worth $1. But yeah, this is pretty cool error right here on a somewhat tougher reverse type variety. All right, Roosevelt Dime time. We have a 1996p Rosie, and it's off-center by about 25%. Again, off-center Roosevelts are pretty tough, not widely available, and they are very collectible by date. This example sold for $22.50. The coin is in pretty good shape. Some of you have probably found one of these before. This is a 1987 Philadelphia Lincoln Memorial cent. And it has a raised kind of like halo ring right here. That'll be the first thing I guess you guys will see. And that's the main feature focus of this coin. Here's a little bit of a close-up of that feature. And this is what is referred to in numismatics as a ridge ring. All right, it's another form of die deterioration. It's especially notable on some of the earlier, like mid-80s era Lincoln Memorial cents, kind of like their first foray into the first few years of this new composition. And it's not rare at all, but people for the longest time didn't know what this is, and then now you guys should know. This particular coin did sell for $6. It's more than an oddity than anything else. Die deterioration at the end of the day is not, in hindsight, an error, but just a state of the dies as they're being used and abused throughout the many strikes it does. I believe this is our last piece of currency, but this is a nice one. This is actually a $1 Federal Reserve note. It's a 1969B, so a little bit older. This one features a partial front to back wet ink transfer. You can see it right there, the black design and all that is featured on the back of this note. Very, very robust. Usually you see them a lot lighter than this. And the only thing that probably would have made this one just absolutely dynamite is if it was a full 100% transfer. But as you can see, it's just a partial. This one right here is sold for $199. On the front of the note, it looks completely normal. Nothing going on here. Maybe just a little bit of circulation wear. 1964 Roosevelt Dime. This time it's a 90% silver type, and as you can see, this one features 2 curved clips. Pretty cool. I like this one. What also kind of got me was the amount of toning on the obverse of the coin. It's actually quite nice. Very seldom you see coins like this with errors, with toning, which it would indicate that it was stored maybe in an album or in a small envelope or something to produce the kind of toning that you see here. But this one sold for $14.95, which is really roughly about 5 to 6 times melt value for this coin. All right, so someone out there had sold a lot of 4 40% candy half dollars. We have a 69D, another 69D, and a 67. But as you can see, this was being sold as a 3-coin error lot that features, clips. We got some curved clips on here. And I always tell people, if you have the opportunity to pick up small lots like this at a cheap price, you could turn around and sell each one of the coins individually. Like, for example, you could take this lot that's sold for $34.99, okay, which is about a roundabout average of $11.70 per coin. You could turn around and sell each coin for between $20 and $25 if you wanted to. I think the big selling feature is that these are 40% halves. You just don't see a lot of errors for these particular kind of like strange composition coins. And I think there's a lot of potential here. The price is just right. It's not overly expensive. It's not too cheap. And there is an opportunity to possibly cash in $10 per coin. But you look for a few lots like this, you could do really well. And here's the reverse of these 40% halves. As you can see, the condition, one of them looks pretty decent with luster. The other two with some circulation wear. Alright, so we've featured quite a few curved clip coins in this video, but this is probably the most craziest of them all, because you have a really big clip on this 1919 Lincoln Wheat Cent. It's a nice looking coin. It's in great shape. You wouldn't know any better, but this thing looks like one of the phases of the lunar, whatchamacallits. But yeah, pretty nice coin. As you would expect, this one would command a pretty healthy market just based off of the size of the clip, in addition to the overall condition, which I would say is quite nice. This one sold for $149.99. One of my favorite coins to kind of cherry pick through are the Indian head cent coins. All right, some of the most underrated dates are from the 1900s. There are actually quite a few repunched dates and misplaced dates in this particular decade of Indian head cents, and you should definitely keep an eye out for them. They're coins that effectively you could buy them for like $2-3 and turn around and sell them for $20 to $40. All right, this is like a really, really good cash grab opportunity if you wanted it to, or you could, identify some of these and add them to your collection. What we have here is a 1906 IHC. That's in pretty nice shape. You have full Liberty. You probably have like 2 diamonds there on that little ribbon. But this is a really, really cool repunch date. This is Snow 40 as an attribution, but you can just see the extra bomb of the 1 here, the bottom curl of the 9. You can see an extra little doodad there, and also the 0. So, and this top flag of the 1. You can see the double top flag there. Really good job, by the way, from the seller with not only the imaging, but also displaying the arrows. It really tells a story, all right, which makes it that much more fun of a find. This one sold for $25.65. Pretty good. Yeah, that's a box of pennies. Just letting you know that the market is still out there for these. So sealed $25 face mixed date pennies still have a market out there. I don't know if banks are starting to restore their or replenish their rolled coins. I have a feeling they are, but again, this is a box of pennies. It's sold for $74.95, 3 times face. By the time you factor in shipping and fees, you probably profit about, I don't know, $25, somewhere around there, $25, $30. So keep that in mind if you want to make some quick money, you could do this. All right, this is a surprising one here. It's a 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent. The coin is not fantastic. Again, it looks like a coin that I've thrown back on a number of occasions, but this is a wide AM variety, the most common wide AM type out of the 3 dates from 98 to 2000. This coin right here is sold for $17.75. I'm pretty sure I've sold some really nice mint state examples of this coin for under $10 because that's how plentiful they are. But here we are. This one right here sold for $17.75. Another off-center Lincoln Memorial cent, this time in 1984, a little bit tougher date, and still with a lot of the same issues that the first 2 coins we saw earlier in the video had. Exposed zinc and all these weird spots. I would imagine they're carbon spotting. But this one's off-center by about 60%, and it's sold for $30.96. I love hunting through some of the earlier memorial cents because you could still find quite a few repunch mint marks. Here's another good one right here. This is RPM number 13 on the 1960 D. This is, I believe, a large date. And you can see the secondary D is punched north of the primary D mint mark. That's what a repunch mint mark looks like up close, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the mint marks were punched into the working dies by themselves. The mint employee would sit there and tap on a long, thin, punch with a D at the end. And sometimes they'll miss their mark. They'll have to redo it. But there's the results. Pretty cool effect. And again, these are very collectible. This one right here is sold for $14.95. And I believe the seller had a number of them for sale. So pretty cool. Keep an eye out for these. They are desired in just about any normal circulating grade. All right, we're going to end off the video on a few coins that are absolutely amazing. And if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know what you're looking for. This one is a 1927 D Buffalo nickel. The condition is not all that. I mean, let's be honest. It's probably a net VF20. You do have a partial horn. VF20 might even be a little bit on the high side. Maybe it just might be a net fine at the end of the day. But aside from it being a little bit tougher date, there is something else to look for on this coin. And that's going to be the 3.5 leg variety. As you can see, this front foreleg is slightly weak. So they call this the 3.5 leg. It's also referred to as the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And a best offer was accepted for this coin, originally asked for $119.25. So I figured it probably sold between $80 and $100, but that's not bad. This is a coin that probably you could have picked up for about 50 cents or $1 and turn around and sell it for a good deal of money. All right, so this is the first time I've ever featured a die cap on this video because you just don't see a lot of them. We've seen coins struck through a die cap, so that's a coin that's stuck on the on the hammer die, and it just won't unlodge. So it'll strike other coins with that cap on there to a pretty neat effect. But when the coins get stuck on there and through many strikes, the coin begins to wrap around the head of that hammer die. So at the end of the day, it's going to look like this. So it looks like a little candy dish. Pretty deep dish right there. Pretty neat. These coins just don't show up at all. Usually they're found and they're destroyed. So this is a Lincoln wheat cent, by the way, which is a very, very early state of die cap. But these are so neat. I would love to own one of these someday. It's just, they're just so dang expensive. This one through 21 bids, and the condition is a little rough on this. Sold for $102.95. So there you go. Pretty nice. I just tickled to see something like this for the first time and be able to show it to each and every single one of you. Oh boy, another bicentennial coin, this time on a $50. And yeah, this one right here is off center by a small margin, like 5%. But yeah, this is what collectors love. 14 bids later, this one sold for $43.15. Pretty nice. I found a few candy $50 errors. I found maybe one or two bicentennial errors back when I was doing avid roll hunting. And they're some of the most satisfying coins to find because you just don't find them. But here you go. This is a case in point. A relatively minor error that brought over $40, guys. Pretty nice. That's like a quarter tank of gas for some people. And finally, the last really, really good coin that I'm glad that this person found it and made a grip of cash from it is going to be this Buffalo nickel. Now, if you can't read the date, I'll tell you what it is. It's a 1918, but it doesn't stop there. It's also a Denver Mint coin, and there is one very notable variety to find here, and that's the overdate 1918 over 7 variety. Yes. This coin in mint state is worth many tens of thousands of dollars. It's a stupid amount of money. I think a few have even sold in excess of $100K. But what does something like this in this low condition sell for? Well, it actually sold for a good deal of money. Even in this condition where the date is pretty much almost worn off, the 1918 over 7 is diagnostically easy to see under a magnifying glass because you see this little straight line here, and the little kind of like areas where there should be a hole right here in the 8s. They're not holes. They're like half circles, and they're tiny. All right. So with all those things considering, this is a very cool variety. I have yet to find one of these. They're kind of hard to cherry pick, probably because they're on everybody's radar. So this one right here sold for $499.95. I would just say $500, which is pretty good. I mean, a coin that say you paid $1 or $2 for at the local coin shop or something, and you turn around and sell for $500. That is awfully satisfying, and congrats to the seller for doing such. But anyways, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it. Oh, there's a close-up, by the way, of that overdate. But that's going to go ahead and do it for you on the Pocket Change Market Report, the early edition on Thursday. Thanks for all your support for my channel. I feel like I've been stuttering through this video, and my mouth is all dry, like I haven't drank water in like 5 days. But yeah, the usual still applies. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to hit that bell for instant notifications. A little bit before I get off the video for today, I am going to be gone for the next like 3 days. However, we will be back Monday with the Monday Market Report. That will still be scheduled. We will still have the live coin Q&A live stream. So if you haven't been there yet, go to live coin Q&A and subscribe, hit that bell. And we will have a special guest in attendance for this Monday's stream. Renowned error specialist Joe Cronin will be in attendance to talk about how to identify fake or counterfeit error coins. It should be must-see TV right there. Aside from that, it's going to be a lot of fun. special event. We're going to have a few panel members, myself included, will be in attendance to talk with Joe, and we will be taking questions. So, yeah, don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, that's it, guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the warm weather and head out and do something fun. Find yourself some pretty neat coins. You guys take care, Coinaholics. We are discovering together.